I love the original Reddit story so much that I decided that we were going to sit and do some more. So I have a list here of some I have just sort of glanced at the start of them and thought, right, okay, they'll do. So we have a long list to get through. So we're going to get stuck in. I can't even count how many times I've tried to explain myself, to show who I really am. But every time it's always the same thing. No one takes me seriously. It feels like I'm invisible, a ghost trapped in a language no one understands. Even Jake, my best friend, the one who should know me better than anyone, always sees me as the guy who's just joking around, exaggerating. See, this is why you shouldn't be the jokester. He doesn't realise the sarcasm is my way of voicing my darkest, most twisted thoughts, and it eats away at me slowly. Okay, we're getting dark already. The other night we were all gathered in my old family apartment. It was a cold, damp autumn night, and outside rain was pouring down, seeping through the cracks in the windows. The walls were peeling and stained with humidity, a stale, mouldy smell that never left. That place was nothing but a hollow shell, filled with only memories and cold. We sat there, beers in hand, and somehow the conversation drifted to dreams and nightmares. Without even realising it, I started telling them about mine. It's always the same. I walk into the town church, dark and damp like a cave, where the air seems thick with painful silence. I walk towards a casket, the only thing clear in the darkness. I feel everyone's eyes on me, each step growing heavier, as if my legs are going to give out. I reach the coffin, and when they ask me to speak, my voice cracks before I can even form a word. Every time it's the same nightmare. I try to say what I feel, to talk about how much I miss that friend that I lost, but I can't. The words slip away, leaving me trapped in silence, and tears keep streaming hot and relentless until I finally wake up, exhausted with my face wet. But there's something worse. Every time I dream, the face in the coffin changes, becoming that of another friend or a family member, every night without rest, like a curse. When I finished telling him, everyone burst out laughing. Jake laughed the loudest. To him, it was just a way to lighten the mood, but I didn't find it funny at all. I felt a strange rage building inside me, a sickness that kept growing. How could he not understand? How could he laugh so easily? I waited patiently, keeping calm. One by one the others left, and I stayed alone with Jake. He kept joking around, but me, I just stared at him. He looked like a faded shadow of who he once was, a guy with the last traces of his teenage self on his face, now dark and worn down by the same anxieties that were consuming him. Every part of him disgusted me, even the sweat that mingled with the mouldy, frigid air of the room, and something inside me snapped. I barely remember what happened next. When Jake went to the bathroom, I followed him. I barely recall it. He turned around, surprised, and there was an embrace, cold, empty. Then somehow I pushed him. I felt his head hit the shelf with a dull, muffled sound. I thought he'd fall instantly, but he started thrashing, hitting back, trying to break free. The more I pushed, the harder he fought, until finally, after a long struggle, everything went still. His eyes wide open, staring with that expression. It didn't even look like Jake anymore. Only his mouth in some way was the same, with that right corner slightly lifted, like he was still about to laugh. Yesterday at his funeral, I was in the church. It was identical to my nightmare. The casket was there in the centre in that cold, heavy silence. They called me up to speak. When I stood, the pain hit me, crushing like a wave. In front of me were his parents, shattered, and his sister, pale as a ghost. I tried to speak, but my voice was only an echo in my head, just like in my dream. The words wouldn't come out. Choked by my sobs, I felt the tears filling me, drowning me, and for a moment I wondered if I was still asleep. This morning I woke up crying with Jake's name caught in my throat. I've been trying to call him for 2 hours now, but no one picks up. Bastard never picks up. Wow. So was it a dream? Did he kill him? Because let's face it, if he killed him, why was he at his funeral? I'm assuming it was a dream. That was so good. What are your thoughts? Also, did you get through listening to it with this stupid sound in the background? Is it just me annoyed by it? I did notice whenever I was editing my videos that there was like a high pitched sound that was coming from the fact that my light that's over here was plugged in to the computer. So I've plugged it into something else and it's not making sound. But for some reason, this silly thing makes sound, which of course is really frustrating me. But anyway, that was a really juicy one, so I enjoyed doing that. I'm going to leave it here for tonight, but if you have any scary stories of your own, or if you've seen any really good Reddits, you can email them to me at lindsaysworld21@gmail.com. I will put that along here, and hopefully I will get some good ones to read out in my next videos. See you all next time. Bye bye.